So just sensing into the heart, the center of our, again, our circulatory system. And just gently shifting to the liver. The color is pinkish brown. Its shape is like an oblong ball, convex on its upper margins, concave in its lower ones. It's about the size of a, almost like the size of a small football. Found above the waist, located in the upper right quadrant of the abdomen, resting below the diaphragm, surrounded by the various digestive organs. So you can even place your hand in the upper right quadrant of the abdomen, in that cavity, that area. Your liver is indeed there. It's the largest internal glandular organ in the body, weighing 3 to 5 pounds. It is the first to receive blood from the intestines, where the blood has been absorbed, the final products of digestion. The liver removes toxic products and purifies digestion and assimilation. It incorporates amino acids into energy and other body tissues. It converts fatty acids so they may be stored as energy sources. And the liver also stores and releases sugar. And it is the storage place for copper, iron, vitamin B12, and the fat-soluble vitamins of A, D, E, and K. And the liver also excretes bile. Quite a lot of utility, this liver. In Greek mythology, Prometheus was punished by the gods for revealing fire to humans. He was punished by being chained to a rock where a vulture would peck out his liver, and then it would regenerate overnight. It's actually interesting that the liver is the only human internal organ that actually can regenerate itself to some significant extent. Liver. The upper right quadrant of our abdomen. Liver. Being mindful of what may arise personally, being mindful of what may arise impersonally, and acknowledging what's here. Liver. And now from the liver, let's shifting to the diaphragm. The color is a whitish, reddish. It's a thin, wide, almost elastic-like membrane. It's found above the waist and it's located in the abdomen and the chest. It actually separates the chest from the abdomen. It's a thin layer of muscle that separates the chest cavity containing the lungs and the heart from the abdominal cavity containing the digestive organs, the intestines, and extends across the bottom of the rib cage. There's a number of functions that the diaphragm offers. It contracts to promote inhalation, the lungs, and it flattens downward and permits the lungs to expand. So it's an integral part of our breathing process, with the contracting of the muscle of the diaphragm to expand the lungs, and the contracting to inhale. So the contraction promotes inhalation, and when it relaxes, the exhalation compresses the lungs. So very amazing. The diaphragm is also involved in non-respiratory functions. Helps us to expel vomit and feces and urine. It increases intra-abdominal pressure, prevents acid reflux from exerting pressure on the esophagus. The diaphragm also enhances blood flow, venous blood flow, and lymph return from the heart. In a way, it is like, within the venous system, it's like a heart as well, or a pump. So this diaphragm, this muscle that separates between the chest, the lungs, and the heart, and below the abdominal region, the digestive organs, this thin muscle, diaphragm. And so each breath that we breathe, the diaphragm is involved, supporting the inhalation and the exhalation. Diaphragm. And now let's shift from the diaphragm to the spleen, which is dark red. Its shape is like a medium-sized water balloon. It's found above the waist, located in the upper left quadrant of the abdomen. So on the right side is the liver and the left side is the spleen. It's an elongated sponge-like tissue organ, so lots of blood in it. That's why it's dark red. And its function is blood formation and acts as a reserve for red blood cells. The spleen also supports some immune function. Spleen. So it might be, with some of these internal organs, include the spleen, it may be difficult to sense into them, but unless it's been surgically removed, it most likely is there inside you in this upper left quadrant of the abdomen. As you sit with it and sense into this area, it may also evoke different memories or stories. I have an old meditation friend that whenever I go to the spleen, it evokes the memory of him having a type of a leukemia called hairy cell leukemia. And one of the treatments for that at the time was the removal of the spleen, since leukemia is a blood disease, a blood cancer, and so the removal of the spleen was helpful for that. So it may bring up memories or stories of the past. Of course, some of you may have seen that video, and maybe there's a little chuckle in there as well, or maybe you know someone that you care about that has had some challenges with the spleen, or maybe you yourself, and so there may be some personal elements to this. And of course, this is the impersonal. The spleen is just like this, doing what it does in the realm of blood formation and potentially some immune function support. Spleen. Sensing into this upper left quadrant within the abdomen. And so now let's shift to this last part in this group of lungs. The color is dark red. Its shape is like two long melons that are cut in half. The surface area of the lungs is approximately the same size as a tennis court if you unravel it. Quite amazing. The direction found above the waist, located in the chest, bordered by the abdomen, the rib cage, the back, and the heart in front. The definition of the lungs: they are two cone-shaped spongy organs for the use of respiration. And the primary purpose is to bring air and blood into intimate contact so that oxygen can be added to the blood and carbon dioxide can be removed. This is achieved by two pumping systems, one moving gas and the other liquid. During a 24-hour period of time, the average human will breathe over 23,000 times. Being that humans on average breathe around 20 times per minute, of course there's times where it's much more, sometimes less, depending on exercise or sleeping. The lungs, so much intertwined with our life, like the heart. These vital organs within the rib cage, protected by the rib cage, the sternum, breastplate bone, and these vital organs of the lungs and the heart, giving us the air that we breathe, the blood that circulates through the body, nourishing it, cleaning it. So for now, with these lungs, of course with the support of the diaphragm, there's the inhalation and the exhalation. Lungs, being mindful of what it may evoke personally, being mindful of what arises in more of an impersonal way. The lungs just are following its function to breathe air. This intimate contact between gas and liquid, air and blood. Lungs. And so all of these parts, heart, liver, diaphragm, spleen, lungs, spleen, diaphragm, liver, heart. And this week, of course, practicing it forward and backwards. Today we just did the forwards. And of course, feeling free as we dive deeper into the practice, if there's a particular part that's really calling to you, and staying with that, trusting what emerges. Penetrating into this body with this grouping of 5 that are connected to all of the other parts in the body. And this body that we live in, this vehicle that we live on, may we hold it with kindness. Perhaps the humbling and sober recognition of perhaps breaking some of the spells of enchantment, understanding its function, its definition. And of course, it's this vehicle we live inside of that we need to care for, keep it healthy, clean, exercised, fed. And that beautiful quote from the Buddha that within this fathom-long body, with its thoughts and emotions, lies our world. Everything is here within this fathom-long body, with its thoughts and emotions, it lies our world. Its beginning, its ending, or its origin, its cessation, and the pathway to great freedom is found within this fathom-long body. Saraha writes that the most profound pilgrimage you could ever make is within your own body. That our body, all of our history, our body is like a storehouse of all of its learnings and thoughts and experiences. So being in the body, from the head hairs, the body hairs, the nails, the teeth, the skin, the muscle, the connective tissue, the bones, the marrow, the kidneys, the heart, the liver, the diaphragm, the spleen, the lungs. These parts and so many parts making up this body, may we hold it with compassion, in with wisdom. May all embodied beings find the gateways into the heart, and may there be peace.